Coach Dawn Staley had a message. Hope all the talking heads are tuned into WNBA games tonight and tomorrow and the next night and so on, so they can equip themselves with a deeper sense of this league. And all these opinions are great, but let it come from watching the entire league. Well, if you did watch the entire league, or you have watched the entire league, you've noticed A'ja Wilson, who is the best player in the league, the most dominant force in the league at this point, and really just can't be stopped. I mean, she, I think, is on pace for the highest scoring season in league history. She put up a stat line that has never been done before. First player with 35 points, 10 rebounds, 5 steals in a game, all while she got hit in the face a few times. Her nose was bleeding, playing through that. They got to call some fouls in the WNBA at some point. And her game is beautiful. The way she runs the court, she's so fluid in her movement, sprinting the floor, finishing around the rim, buttery jump shot, blocking shots, getting steals. I mean, she rarely ever misses, I feel like, with that J or around the basket. So she is absolutely awesome and deserves the flowers and deserves the attention. And Dawn Staley's sentiment is correct, right? Like I've shared similar thoughts, which is don't ignore the rest of the ladies in the league. Don't ignore the other great teams, the other great players. And in particular, with the Kennedy Carter, Caitlin Clark fiasco, you had so many people weighing in on this topic that never watched before, don't watch now, will never watch in the future. They were just being part of the conversation because they saw where the engagement was coming from. Some of them were just trying to stir the pot with the culture wars and everything else that went on. But for the WNBA to grow as a whole, other teams other than the Indiana Fever are going to have to be paid attention to. And I've made that point to Caitlin Clark fans that only helps her legacy if the WNBA as a whole grows. And it is. It was growing before. Not as quickly. And it even in the non-Caitlin Clark category, it's growing now more quickly than it was before. Rising tide lifts all boats and all that. And the Las Vegas Aces have been a popular team. They've been a popular team merchandise-wise, attendance-wise. Obviously, they've been a winning team. It helps when you have A'ja Wilson on it. And Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum. And there's plenty to like about A'ja, right? She seems like a good teammate as well. It's not just what she does on the court. She apparently went and got a birthday cake and tiara for Kate Martin herself, according to head coach Becky Hammond. Look at this.
Damn. Good morning. Good morning.
Everybody seems to love Kate Martin, by the way. So that was a cool moment. She has personality, all those things. But here's the thing. And I've been thinking about this in making this same point. One thing that you cannot do is control what people are interested in, what they are entertained by, and what they are gravitating toward. Like I've seen people say that A'ja Wilson is the true face of the WNBA. And Draymond Green said something similar, that, he believes she should be the face of the WNBA, and she's as marketable as anybody in the WNBA. You have to figure out how to market the product. Nobody had to figure out how to market Caitlin Clark. She brought that attention for whatever reasons it is. I think it's mostly her dynamic play style, the way she plays, but all the other factors that have combined to make that happen. She's the face of the league. She's been the most talked about person in the world the last few days. A'ja Wilson's the best player in the league. But the truth of the matter is this. If I were to title this video using Caitlin Clark's name, it would get more views. And some people have this misnomer that if you were to talk about one subject just as much as you talk about another subject, they would both be equally popular. But that's not the way it works. People see the metrics, the ratings, the engagement numbers. They know what people are interested in. They don't talk about the Dallas Cowboys all the time by accident, or the Lakers, or LeBron, obviously, right? And one thing that hurts is for Asia or anybody else that's a big, they don't tend to capture the imagination in the same way. I mean, that's gone back through the annals of the NBA, where in my lifetime, I mean, Bird and Magic kind of put the league on the map. Kareem was before them, but he was a big. Bird and Magic really put the league on the map. Then it was Jordan. Then it was Kobe, LeBron, Steph. Shaq was a big charismatic personality, but I don't know if he was ever, maybe for a fleeting moment. Those guys I said were the faces of the league. And as good as Tim Duncan was, no one was ever, wanting to be Tim Duncan. You didn't hear people say their favorite player was Tim Duncan. In fact, he was called boring. And he was a dominant force. I just make that point to say, you can't force it to be true. You can't say, this is the case. She is the face of the league, or, people need to pay as much attention. They're going to choose what they want to do and what they care about and what they find interesting and entertaining. And the people who are paid to talk about those things are going to talk about what the audience wants to hear about. With that said, if you're a basketball fan, what Asia is doing is undeniable, and it deserves recognition. And I'm trying to make sure I give it the recognition, and also explore the topic in a more nuanced, interesting way, because you're going to have a lot of people say, like, out of duty, you got to talk about it. I mean, what Monica McNutt said to Stephen A. Smith the other day, you could have been talking about the WNBA for 3 years. We'll see if First Take covers it. And if they do, is it a passing mention? Asia Wilson did this. Achievements don't necessarily always move the needle either. But if, you have been paying attention to more than what's been dominating the headlines the last few days, Asia Wilson would have your attention. And she's going to be, she's going to command it. What she's done on the court is too dominant. And the league is being seen by more and more eyeballs. I mean, she's already been talked about more in recent times than in the past. And she's got the Nike shoe deal coming. But, her play speaks for itself. And it is worth acknowledging her for the Roman Reigns fans out there. And isn't her shoe the A1s? So maybe that can be the sign off. I do acknowledge you, Asia. Ace of the WNBA.